So in case you weren't aware, Canada's got some stuff that they need to be concerned about. Primarily a wackadoo incoming president who has said things like Canada should be the 51st state, fuck off, and that he's also going to impose tariffs. Now, because when you have an incoming president making such wackadoo statements, you need to consider what's being said. Now, there are a few approaches that we could take, coming together as a country for the greater good, because that's the right thing to do. And so to have these discussions, our Prime Minister met with the premiers today. To have chats, talk about the different approaches, things that are important, ways that Canada can stand up to things. And for the most part, everybody's on the same side. For the most part. They call it a Team Canada approach, where we forget the divisiveness and work together. For the most part. What's the one part that won't work together? This fucking potato. Alberta's premier. Because where there were discussions with our prime minister and our other premiers, talks about potential embargoes or additional tariffs, withholding of resources, things that would show a wackadoo incoming president that we're not people to be messed with, that we take pride in what Canada has to offer. And although we are often polite, we are not pushovers. But not Alberta's premier. If there is a boot to lick, girlfriend's all over it. Because Danielle Smith thinks herself to be some kind of negotiations expert. Although she didn't do sweet fuck all after she met with Trump, because she told us to still expect tariffs. So why would you not harness the power of all the provinces to stand up to the bully? Because Danielle Smith is shitting her pants, much like her idol Trump. Because when you have budgeted and run a province solely on oil, the intrinsic worry of less production, less sales, in order to stand up to the bully, puts your political career at risk. Danielle Smith doesn't care about Canada. Danielle Smith cares about Danielle Smith. Oh, she may be pretending that she's here to defend Alberta, the energy sector, the clean oil that we provide to the U.S. Except there's nothing that says that the U.S. would even continue to buy Alberta oil. Because A, they can produce their own, but B, they've got other countries that can provide them oil. Ones that they're buddy-buddy with. And in the hierarchy of alt-right fascism, although Danielle Smith is a big fish in a little pond in Canada, she's a fucking minnow on the world stage. And what bizarro world are we living in where Doug Ford is being reasonable? Duggo's being reasonable. Calling out Danny. Just so you're aware, Danny didn't actually go to Ottawa like the rest of the premiers because she was on her family vacation in Panama. Remember when all of you got so upset because Justin was on vacation when the world was collapsing? I'm sure you're fine with Danny being in Panama via Mar-a-Lago. She's having such a temper tantrum that she didn't go to the closing press conference. She wouldn't sign it. And then we had an appended document that said Alberta didn't approve. He's not going to pick you, Danny. He's just not. But if you're really interested, why don't you resign your position as premier, move down to the States, and try to get a job with them? Because even Duggo says you're being an asshole. Duggo! Danielle Smith is the lowest of the low. She tried to sell out Mexico. Tried to make a deal with Trump. Throwing Mexico under the bus. Thought that she could somehow negotiate a deal just for Alberta. Fuck the rest of Canada. Kind of like what she's trying to do with CPP. Take something from the rest of Canada. The rest of Canada doesn't like that. But this isn't based on trying to defend Alberta. This is based on her worried about not getting reelected. Or worse, being punted before the next election. Because you made up legislation saying that we wouldn't run a deficit. But you budgeted all of that on oil. And we're already going to run a deficit. Which is why we're not getting our lowered personal income tax that you promised all of us until 2027. If you're still around. We've said it multiple times. Danielle Smith is a liar. Danielle Smith will sell her soul for power. Remember when she loved the wild rose and then crossed the floor? She will sell Alberta out to the U.S. And Alberta won't win because the U.S. doesn't give a fuck about us. And now, based on her temper tantrum, the rest of the provinces probably don't give a fuck about us either. Yay, Alberta!